I'm Andrew White, front-end dev lead, contributing writer, and United Paizo Workers member at Paizo, and you're listening to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
This week, Morrus and Peter talk about the new Critical Role animated series Legend of Vox Machina. In the news, Wizards of the Coast has a new president, D20 Modern is getting a 5e reboot, an update on the Dungeons & Dragons television show, and more, plus a brand new sketch about a Holmesian fallacy of logic. This week on Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
This week, this sorry excuse for a podcast is sponsored by Lilith's Mattresses. Lilith's Mattresses have a unique combination of high-performance straw and hypoallergenic newt-scale filling, which delivers contouring, pressure relief, core support, and a guaranteed 87% lice-free sleep. Oh, that just sounds awful. In my experience, people need a few lice to remind them that they're alive. Nothing like a good rash to focus the mind. Well, I suppose if you want to spend good money on a glorified sack of straws, I suppose you should get one.
All the tabletop role-playing news, we aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morrus, or Morrus, aka Russ. And with me this week is...
Peter Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers. Russ, it is stellar to be here.
You look different, Peter.
Possibly more successful.
You look like you have the weight of about 4,000 pounds upon your shoulder.
That's not pounds as in the American unit of measurement, that's pounds as in the unit of British currency.
Yes.
Yes.
So congratulations on a very successful Kickstarter launch.
It's phenomenal. I'm less completely mind blown than I was on Tuesday. But to say that I have embraced it and I'm entirely on board with it is not accurate either. I mean, there's just been so many lovely people. They've all said such lovely things. So, I'm very pleased with how it's going, obviously. And yes.
So you're 3 days in?
Yes.
And you were just under, last I checked, just under £4,000. Or was it hit that now?
Well, for some reason I have it. I have 4,177.
It's gone over 4,000 in 3 days.
Yes, that's $5,682 against my $408 goal.
So you're probably going to do £7,000 or £8,000, I reckon.
Yes. I'm not really sure what to do with that. That's as first Kickstarters go, I think I've really hit.
I think that's better than my first Kickstarter probably was. I can't remember it, but I think it probably is.
Well, as I say, I've had a lot of support from yourself. Like Embry's written me a lovely column. Angus Abramson has name-dropped me in an RPG news column. Yeah, I've been supported locally as well. I mean, it's really, really wonderful to just have so much support. I love people.
And you're on Graham Norton tonight, aren't you? Or not, perhaps.
Well, I mean, I'm on the wait list.
Oh, wait a minute! You're not Peter Coffey, the international movie star. Have I got the wrong Peter Coffey?
There are no Peter Coffey international movie stars.
Right, let's do some news.
We should do some news.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we should. So, Wizards of the Coast has a new president.
Yes. I mean, wow.
All the way from a little company called Microsoft.
You managed to pronounce it correctly. They must be big.
I did think about it, but then I thought that's far too much effort. So Microsoft. So she was. This is Cynthia Williams, and she was heavily involved in the growth of Xbox and Xbox gaming, and she was vice president of the gaming ecosystem commercial team.
Yeah.
Which doesn't actually mean anything to me, but it sounds very impressive.
Do you have an Xbox?
Somewhere gathering dust.
Well, there you go. But I assure you, if you are into that sort of console things, then this is fairly big news.
Yeah. So Chris Cox was the president of Wizards of the Coast, and he was promoted to CEO of Hasbro, was recently when it was a month or two
last
ago.
couple of months.
And so Cynthia Williams is taking over from him.
Yeah. It's, wow. This is, why would you leave Microsoft to work at Hasbro? To head up the role-playing game division.
Well, yeah. But you see, Wizards of the Coast is Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming is the name of the division at Hasbro. So digital gaming's half of it.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you think about Magic the Gathering and some of the digital stuff they've got going on there, that's a big part of it. And remember all those leaks about the 3D virtual tabletop earlier last year?
Very true. Yeah, augmented reality.
Yeah, so that's what, that sort of background is probably really useful for Wizards' future plans.
Licensing computer games and so forth, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but still, wow. What a time to be alive.
So, do you remember D20 Modern?
I think I've played a couple of games, but I never really had a chance to play a long campaign. It was quite cool, to be honest. But yeah.
So it was 2002.
Yes. I wasn't really doing a lot of D&D at that time, but
yeah. So it was basically kind of based on the 3E framework.
Yeah, that's right. It was under the original OGL when you had the D20 explosion. A bit like explosion.
It wasn't produced under the OGL because because Wizards of the Coast produced it, so they didn't need to. No. However, they did make a lot of it open gaming content and release an SRD for it, which was nice of them.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So, basically, D20 Modern back in 2002. I'll get to the news item in a second, but it's just some background.
This for those is some context.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking, 20 years ago, so people might not be aware of what D20 Modern is.
Well, indeed, yeah.
Although 2002 isn't very modern now, is it? This is sort of pre-mobile phones, early days of the internet.
I don't mean to alarm you, Russ, but 20 years ago is the official boundary that most people use for talking about history.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. So it's extremely different to my boundary, which is yesterday.
Yeah, okay, so I guess this would be like the ancient past.
Yeah, this is classical.
Classical period, okay.
Back in the days of The Sopranos and...
oh, goodness.
And The West Wing, which depicted a hopeful and benevolent governmental structure.
Let us move away from the work of Aaron Sorkin and potentially talk about the news item in hand. What do you say?
Okay. So D20 Modern, it was 2002. It was basically modern gaming, so you'd play in the as then modern world. Yes. And there were character classes, 6 character classes. Mm-hmm. One based on each ability score. Okay. So you'd have a strong hero, a smart hero, a fast hero.
Yeah, we know how this works. Cool.
Well, yeah, but people might not have
if you haven't played D&D, then there you go. We've got 6 classes. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a kind of a reboot of it. Okay. It's coming from the design team. This is from Evil Genius Productions.
Okay.
And the design team contains some of the people who were working on D20 Modern at the time, 20 years ago, who were working for Wizards of the Coast.
Right.
So we've got people like Jeff Grubb, Stan, ! Steve Miller, all of whom worked either on D20 Modern or worked at Wizards of the Coast at that time.
Yeah, right.
And they're essentially rebooting it. And they've got on their website, they're not being coy about it. They've got pictures of the original D20 Modern on there. They very clearly say, we are rebooting D20 Modern.
I mean, I'm really happy for them. And if you're a D20 Modern fan, this is fantastic news. It's just it feels really weird that there's just so much rebooting of old stuff going on. It's like if I got my 2006 book, Malach Nights, available on Lulu, and started promoting it, I'd be like, what even? Or someone said, Peter, you should write a sequel to it. I'd be
so this is going to be based on the 5e system, though. So
yes,
I mean, they say reboot, but basically what they're saying is they're making a modern themed 5e rule set.
Right.
It's really what they're doing there, and they're calling it Everyday Heroes.
Yeah, I mean, really, what they should do is they should use Advanced 5th Edition and save themselves a huge job of work. But I mean, I'm just saying, I would find it much easier to do that because of you've got skills that you'd want to use for a start.
Given the fact that we're making Advanced 5th Edition sci-fi future book this year.
That is true.
I suspect we might want to make a modern book later, so hopefully they won't, and they'll leave it to us.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be on Kickstarter, spring 2022. So
fantastic.
Very soon, I guess.
Yeah.
March, April, and spring. I don't even know.
What is time? It is an illusion.
Yes, it is an illusion. Time doesn't even exist.
We've had a nice mild winter here, which is nice.
Yeah. I'm quite excited about that, though. I'm interested, definitely.
I'd be interested to have a look. I'd want to give it a go, but yeah. I mean, yeah. I might just be prepared to give it a hack on my own because it just seems. I don't know. We'll see what they do with 5e because it's a good team. Like a lot of smart people, so it just depends on how closely tied they are to 5th edition, really.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be a challenge. But I've seen lots of people do things that I didn't think was possible, so I'm not going to say you can't do it.
Hey, so Peter, are you familiar with a little outfit called the NHS?
The National Health Service?
Yes. I thought you might not have heard of it. I mean, it's...
I mean, they're so small, it's like that we're talking about, yeah.
Are they the biggest employer in the UK? Or possibly Europe or something?
They're the largest employer in the UK.
Yeah, so there is a charity bundle for the... there's an organisation called NHS Charities Together.
Fantastic.
And the Roleplay Haven, which is a UK website and organisation, has teamed up with NHS Charities Together.
Oh, okay, right.
To do basically, you can buy a T-shirt for 18 quid, which the proceeds go to NHS Charities Together. But with that T-shirt, a bunch of UK publishers have donated materials that you'll get free as well as the T-shirt. So the T-shirt's kind of the vehicle, but the thing...
okay. So the T-shirt's like a token to allow you to access all your goodies.
Yeah. So that includes our own Level Up Advanced 5th Edition Adventurer's Guide in PDF format.
What? Amazing.
Yeah. And then we've got books from Nightfall Games, like Slay Industries 2nd Edition and the Terminator RPG.
Nice. Well, I mean, I know the Adventurer's Guide was, about 17 quid on Drive for RPG quite recently. So you're basically getting a T-shirt and a book, and then you say you get 2 books. How many more books do you get, Russ?
You get the Devil's Run role-playing game from Red Scar.
Okay.
You get discounts. There's also a bunch of coupons with it. Discounts on products from Modifius.
Nice.
Handiwork Games, which is John Hodgson, who did Beowulf. And Feral Gamers Inc. I don't know them. Britannia Games, which is Chivalry and Sorcery. Sorcery and Chivalry.
Yes, that's on.
Steve Turner's company.
Yeah, that's a real doorstop of a book. Yeah.
He's also our accountant.
I did remember that was the guy, but I didn't like to say, also our accountant. But I mean, clearly appreciates a good cause.
Yes, so he's currently busy setting up pensions for me and Jessica.
Fantastic.
What? By the by. And Son of Oak. So you get a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
The money goes to the NHS.
Okay.
Or the NHS Charities Together charity.
Yes.
There is bad news that any physical bonuses you only get if you're in the UK. Though you can still get the PDFs and discount vouchers worldwide.
Yeah, unless you know someone in the UK who's prepared to pick them up and mail them out to you.
Yeah. But, if you want to support the NHS, it's a way to do it. Alternatively, you can stand outside of your house and clap.
I mean, I do support the NHS for a thing we call taxes, so
well, it's up to you if you want to or not, but everyone can make their own decision.
I am pleased. I'm sure NHS charities do good work, and that's awesome. I don't know why there is a need for them, but perhaps that's just my own ignorance. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm supporting it by donating products. So.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, and if you want to get your hands on Level Up and you live in the UK, then there is very few fine ways to do it. I mean, hell, if you lived outside the UK, you don't even have to support for the T-shirt. You just get like a load of stuff. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what else have we got? We have got some news about the D&D TV show.
Oh,
now, this may or may not be the TV show we've heard of 2 TV shows before.
Yes, yeah.
This may or may not be one of those, or it may be another one. It's unclear.
It may be a third D&D TV show. Okay, right.
I do know that Wizards of the Coast are very, very keen on leveraging the D&D brand and making, putting it into film, TV, all over the place. So multiple shows isn't off-brand for what they're trying to do.
I mean, I obviously wasn't there, but it does feel like a reminiscent of the 80s when they were also massively successful.
Well, if it works for comic book companies, I guess they're thinking it could work for RPG companies.
I mean, yeah, sure, why not? I know, man. Let's find out. Tell me more.
Well, so someone called Rawson Marshall Thurber is now the creative overseer of this TV show, whether it's an existing one or not. And he's going to write and produce a 1-hour pilot and act as executive producer.
That name, bizarrely, sounds really familiar to me. I could not tell you why.
Let me give you a few production names and see if you recognise any of these then. Dodgeball.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it, but I'm aware.
Red Notice, Skyscraper, Central Intelligence, all starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Okay.
The Division, which is a film adaptation of a video
Tom Clancy's video game. Yeah. Okay.
So the previous project was like John Wick's writer, Derek Kolstad. And that may or may not be the same thing.
Yeah, so
or
he
it may
does
be a different thing. I don't know.
So I've actually seen some of these movies. So he does sort of comedies, it feels like.
Yeah, they're light. Yeah. Well, Skyscraper wasn't. Skyscraper was
a comedy.
It was kind of... It was a slightly lighter Die Hard, wasn't it, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, it was Die Hard with added jokes.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Johnson having a prosthetic leg. Yeah, no, I've actually seen
I forgot about that. Yeah.
These,
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. How about it?
How about that? Yeah. Right.
So do we think it's going to be a comedy version of Dungeons & Dragons?
I think it'll be light-hearted.
Yes.
I don't know if it'll be strictly comedy.
No, okay. So sort of like vaguely tongue-in-cheek without desperately trying for jokes sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, or maybe he could be trying his hand at something else. Who knows?
Well, it's who you ask to do what is the question, eh?
Yeah. So, in 4 weeks, 3 weeks now, in fact.
Yes.
End of February.
Yes.
Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD goes away forever.
Bum, bum, bum.
After the 28th of February, you will not be able to buy it at all. PDF, print, anything.
Okay.
So,
we have now got... from publication.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have now got a big half-price sale.
Wow, half price.
Everything's half price, except for print-on-demand stuff, because obviously you can't cut that in half because it costs that much to print it.
Yeah.
So that includes, physical stock that we got, PDFs, everything. Everything for Just Dread is half price, and that includes Strontium Dog and Rogue Trooper as well.
Right.
Until the end of February, and then after the end of February, that's it. It's all over. You can't get it anywhere at all. I mean, some stores may still have some in stock, in which case you can buy it from them. But from us, that's it.
Right. Okay. I mean, these are very nice books. Using the What's Old is New system. Yeah. But the artwork is amazing in those.
Yeah. So, it's all original artwork from the comics.
Yes. Well, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you're 2000 AD fan, but to be fair, if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably already acquired, and very wisely too, copies of it. But you're saying that now the physical copies and so forth are half price.
Everything is half price, yeah.
Everything is half price.
Everything except print on demand, which we can't do at half price.
So the PDFs are half price, is that right?
PDFs are half price. The hardbacks are half price.
What about the GM screens?
Half price.
Oh, okay. They say it's all half price.
Everything's half price.
Okay, good. I'm still a little unsure of the message.
Just to clarify, half price, everything.
Huh.
Except for print-on-demand stuff.
So it's like, what, 50% off?
Except for you, it's double price. If your name is Peter Coffey, whether you are the international movie star Peter Coffey or another Peter Coffey, it is double price.
That seems fair.
Yes. So, the One Ring. The One Ring. Yes.
Huh.
So, the Kickstarter backers are all getting it now?
Yes. Well, we did your
unboxing mine last week,
Yeah,
they've announced the actual release date when you can buy it.
We'll have a drum roll.
That will be March the 22nd.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought you could get the PDF already. I might be wrong. Maybe that just refers to the physicals. I feel like you could get the PDF already.
Yeah, I mean,
we know how facts are basically feelings, so if I feel like it, then it's probably true. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
That is how facts work.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously this is the high standards of reporting that we work to on this new show.
So scrolling through the news, homebrew and hacking, crafting new heritages and cultures. Oh, I don't know what that is. I'll scroll past that. Yeah, boring.
Yeah. Talked enough about that. Too much information.
Hey, I am so happy for you.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
So glad. I knew it would anyway.
I mean, I know we like to jest around a lot in this programme, but your words of advice have been all 100% helpful.
And also the customers I sent you as well, I imagine.
Yes. I mean, words of praise and encouragement is a very wider field, but yeah, certainly, like, this is this podcast, of which there's at least one who recognises the trademark. Hi, this is Peter Coffey from the Southampton Gold Role Players, and actually typed it out phonetically, which I thought was quite cool.
Phonetically?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I read it. I heard my own voice saying it in my head. I was like, "Oh, I see what you did there. Nice."
I have not seen this.
Oh, it's on the comments there. But yeah, that's been fantastic response. Anyway, moving on. Enough about me.
Enough about you.
Yes.
Yeah. Far too much about you, quite frankly.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So that Dark Souls RPG we mentioned it a couple of times.
Oh, yes. So we're going to implement it in 5th edition.
Yes. So I've got some more information about that.
There's a Japanese one, isn't there? As I recall.
I don't know.
No, there's definitely a Japanese version of the Dark Souls RPG. There's definitely a Japanese Dark Souls RPG, but I'm afraid I wasn't able to track it down because for some reason Google keeps on telling me about lots of other products.
I believe it. But the one that we've been talking about is the 5th edition one, which has been released by Steamforged Games.
Yes.
And they've talked a little bit about some of the changes they're making to 5e, which is pretty interesting.
Nice.
So there's 4 big changes they're making. They say they cut 5e to ribbons before reanimating it, is how they phrase it. That implies some quite extensive changes, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so in the video game, apparently you have health and stamina separately.
Yes.
They've combined these two things into one resource called Position, which measures health, but it's also a resource you can spend to boost dice rolls or activate special abilities.
Wow, okay.
Now, I'm assuming that means there's no hit points, because hit points measure health too. So I'm assuming that means that replaces hit points.
I mean, this sounds like the awesome idea for a magic system, as opposed to going with soul slots.
Well, yeah, hit points where you spend them to activate stuff.
Get stuff done. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that really leans heavily into, like, say, a Wizard Duel or something. You know, like where they're like absolutely bringing their utmost to it, and then they're completely tired out afterwards because they spent all their position.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
So they talk about a mechanic from the video game called Bloodied they're bringing into the into the tabletop RPG.
Really? Bloodied? I mean, who's done Bloodied before? No one. It's completely blue.
So that's a D&D 4th edition mechanic.
Yeah, and has also seen the 13th Age and others
and
made
the
it
rest.
into
Other games since, including Level Up.
Yeah.
So basically, when you hit half hit points, or in this case, half position, you can trigger bonuses in your ability. It's basically a trigger when you hit half point. It's a fairly standard mechanic now.
Yeah.
So
okay,
magic,
well, I'm glad they're doing it. Yeah.
Big old changes to magic.
Yes.
So Vancian magic is gone entirely.
Yeah.
Every hint and vestige of Vancian magic is gone. They've now got a flexible system which is drawn from the video game.
Okay.
So you have attunement slots.
Right.
Spells take up a number of slots, and some spells require position, hit points, to cast or boost.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, just based on my reading of the Jack Vance books, that sort of feels quite Vancian. As in, like, he could only memorize a certain number of spells and then use them.
Well, this seems more like spell points to me.
Yeah, okay.
It feels like spell points, but I'm not sure.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
but yes.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Okay, and finally we have death.
Yes?
Death.
Death.
At 0 position, you die. No saves.
Okay.
No death saving throws. None of that stuff. No negative hit points. None of that.
Yeah.
However, you then respawn.
Yes.
Like you do in the video game, apparently.
Yeah.
But each time you die, you lose part of yourself.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm not sure what that means exactly. I assume that's a mechanic in the video game.
I mean, sounds weird, but sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, you'll lose something. Maybe you'll lose an ability. Maybe you'll lose a feature or something. I don't know.
Maybe you should play Dark Souls RPG and you can tell us more about it.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'm not going to play the video game. It's just not going to happen.
It didn't look like my sort of fun, to be honest.
Yeah. So, Sir Jeremy of Crawford.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That wizard from the coast.
Goodness, a knight and a wizard.
Yes. Has been talking about how spellcasting monsters are changing in D&D. Which, if you have Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, you'll have seen this already.
Yes.
But, so basically, he says that they're shorting the pathway to getting to your bliss, which is an interesting phrase, and making monsters easier to run so you get to the fun quicker and more easily.
Okay, well, we'll pick the management speak and crack on.
Well, he says the rumours of the death of spellcasting in monsters are not true.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that they're just like abilities that can't be counterspelled but do exactly the same thing as a spell. They're actually spells. Is that what he's heading towards?
Well, let me finish this and we'll see. So innate spellcasting has been streamlined with spellcasting into a single trait. So they've been joined together into one thing.
Okay.
And spellcasting options are consolidated wherever possible.
Mm-hmm.
They're removing any options the DM is unlikely ever to use, which I think makes sense in a stat block. You can list it somewhere else in the monster description. You can say, and also they'll have all these spells and stuff. But in a combat, this is all you need to know in the stat block. Yeah. I agree with that.
That is just sensible removal of excess verbiage, which, quite frankly, they should do a lot more of.
So in some cases, you get new magical abilities in the monster stat block which exist alongside a list of spells they can cast.
Yeah.
For example, the Mind Player's Mind Blast is not a spell.
No.
And there are other abilities that are magical but not spells.
Okay.
And aren't as easy to interact with things like Counterspell. So I think that answers your question.
That's always been the case, though. Like, Mind Blast, that's not a spell. It's like Mind Blast.
Well,
it's what it is.
Well, back in 3E, you used to have spell-like abilities. You used to have, extraordinary abilities, and you used to have different types of abilities, which went by the wayside. Okay. So it's kind of almost bringing those sort of things back in, I feel like, but without actually explicitly saying so.
Right.
A little bit.
Okay. So they decided that actually this 5th edition stuff is overrated, and they like 3.5 better.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he says they want to make, like, even archmages say, how is this functioning and why can't I stop it? Implying that there's types of magic that even a wizard who studies magic doesn't really understand how that works and how something's doing it.
Yeah, I guess that's always been sort of an implicit but never explicitly stated part of the game, in that all the spells that you get in the Player's Handbook and various other supplements, these are things which are understood, prioritized, spells that you can use and stop and so forth, but there's like other deeper magics, or as we like to call it, GM fudge.
Yeah.
Powered by Handawavium. Look, it's magic. Accept it. Roll with it. And then everyone's much happier. I want to do it myself. Well, unfortunate. You should have thought of that before.
Yeah. So, I think we're getting to the end of the news already, which is quick.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty quick. Was it? Have you got any news that you can think of?
There were a couple of crowdfunding projects that I thought were quite nifty.
Mm-hmm.
There was...
homebrew...
No. Not that one. I mean, obviously, you will... Apologies to people who listen to the podcast and read the backer updates, because you know exactly what I'm talking about already. But I saw the Villains Next Door, which was on Indiegogo.
I just found one. Heckin' good doggos.
I mean, I want to talk about Villains Next Door, but I feel a priority interrupt has taken place.
An indie tabletop RPG of dogs doing dog stuff. Okay then.
Come on, don't keep us in suspense, man.
I don't know. Let me back it, and then I'll read what it is.
They know their audience.
Continue. I am backing it as we go. Backing it live on the show.
We should find out these people are and send them like a little, well done. That's the quickest Russ has ever backed a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
By name
backed.
alone.
It is backed.
I am tempted myself, but I'm trying to, maybe by the 15th of February, my views on whether I should back Seth will change. I expect they will. But yeah.
So shall I now find out what this actual Kickstarter is now?
I think we covered it in sufficient depth already. I mean, you're either on board with hecking good doggos or you are not.
Yeah. So
if you're not, I say good day, sir.
So, Hecking Good Doggos is a family-friendly, all ages, role-playing game where the players take on the roles of humankind's best friends, the dog. It is a game of dogs doing dog stuff that focuses on the kinds of stories and adventures dogs can get into, such as finding their favourite treats, barking at a squirrel up in the tree, finding their human best friend who has gone missing, banishing an ancient spirit that threatens the neighbourhood. Hudson?
Wait, what?
He's barked at squirrels up in trees, but he hasn't actually... Hudson, why have you not banished any ancient spirits threatening the neighbourhood?
Russ, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you seen any ancient human spirits threatening the neighbourhood?
Maybe he has been banishing the ancient spirits threatening the neighbourhood.
See, he's hard. He's been hard at work and does not appreciate your lack of appreciation of him.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know.
Yeah. Well, there we go. A role-playing game about dogs doing doggo things. So it's funded. Good. It's got 15 days to go. Of course it's funded because it's amazing and I've backed it. So
yeah, I mean...
Anyway, what was the Kickstarter you were talking about before I so rudely interrupted you?
We can't finish talking about Hecking Good Doggos. How much, where can we get, obviously on Kickstarter, PDF?
I expect so. I've just clicked away from it now.
Of course you have.
I backed it.
Why would listeners want to know how much it would cost?
I backed it for the physical copy, and I think it said £20 or something, or $20 or something, I think.
Okay, 20 currency units.
All right, I will check for you.
This is why people listened for laser sharp analysis and up to date information.
Okay, Doggity, $20 for PDF and print version, which is what I did.
Oh, that is really good, actually. Yeah, nice. Yeah, okay. So
anyway, so the Kickstarter you were talking about was
technically, right? Yeah, it's not a Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually crowdfunding because it's on Indiegogo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Villains Next Door. Mm-hmm. And what it is it's about people who aren't supernatural, malevolent creatures. I can't really call them asshats on the podcast, can I? So, yeah.
See why not?
Yeah, okay.
Our sketch ends with a swear word this week.
Oh, for us. Is this our first ever 15 rated podcast?
Oh, it's because I've been watching Vox Machina.
Oh, yes. We should talk about them. They're definitely running a Rory this year. For most gratuitous use of the word. Anyway, where were we? Yes, Villains Next Door. So yeah, it's about people who are like you and me, except without any sense of shred of decency, and who are completely awful. I did ask one of the creators about it, and they said their favourite one of the terrible villains has inspired the most with their awfulness would be the eternally youthful Leonce, who appears from their gothic mansion occasionally to charm another bride, only to drain them of life and youth to continue Leonce's own selfish existence. So I'm getting shades of Bluebeard's wife with a touch of Dorian Gray as well, with the old vampire myth, which is not bad really for a non-supernatural creature. Well, I suppose they must be quite supernatural. Can
you be quite supernatural? Sure, it's a binary thing.
You're either supernatural or you're not.
Yes.
Well, you know how I feel about binaries. Innocent. Artificial things.
Sorry. Is it a scale of supernaturalness?
Yes. Supernaturalness exists on the spectrum.
I'm slightly supernatural.
Sometimes you just get a hinky feeling, and that turns out to be right. And then it's a bit mild supernatural. And sometimes you go around setting fire to your whole school gymnasium using the power of only your mind.
I do
that,
yes.
Pretty severe. Yeah,
I frequently do that.
Yeah.
They get quite annoyed by it.
I'm
expecting some strongly worded letter sometime soon.
I didn't realise PE was so traumatic for you, but there we go. Sorry. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So, yeah. Are we done? We're done with Kickstarters. Unless there's anything else you got to mind?
There was an announcement I saw which just absolutely blew my mind, which was for Demos Academy, which, as you know, is the name of one of Mars's moons. But it's not actually about that. It's actually about Demos as in terror. So it's a gemless collaborative horror role-playing game in a colouring book about adults returning to their creepy old boarding school.
Okay.
And it's like, that is wild. I love it. I just love I love how creative role-playing games have got. I feel like it's actually art at this point, where people are just saying, yeah, you got a journaling game about being a 1,000-year-old vampire. That's Tim Hutchinson or whatever. And then you've got like other journaling games. And then we got this, which is like, it's a colouring book that's a role-playing game. I find it exciting. Okay. I mean, I don't know if I would play it, but I'd certainly want to own it and look at it.
Well, the thought of you trying to colour between the lines, Peter, is just...
Colouring between the lines is overrated.
I've seen you in crayons.
But they're so tasty, Russ. They're so tasty. How am I supposed to restrain myself, eh?
Yes, it's when you put them up your nose. It's just, come on.
Well, I mean, I don't normally do that, but we've been meaning to talk to you about your personal grooming.
That's your idea of personal grooming, is it? Putting crayons up your nose? Yeah,
that's what I do with personal grooming. That's exactly what I was doing to.
Anyway, I think we're done with the news, aren't we? We're done with the Kickstarter.
I think we are done with the news, yes. And so I deduced that the killer was none other than Lord Gamberson.
Amazing! You worked all that out by just looking at a button. Mr. Holmes, you truly are a genius.
Well, one doesn't like to boast, Watson.
I mean, you deduced from a single red button the existence of an international conspiracy to overturn the very fabric of society in the space of but a moment.
Yes, I suppose I did, Watson. I suppose I did.
You identified all 15 co-conspirators, the exacting nature of their plan, and even described what each had had for breakfast.
All in a day's work, my dear Watson. All in a day's work.
For breakfast last Tuesday. How do you do it?
It's simply elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary? It's practically magical. I mean, one red button and you unravelled the entire dastardly plot.
It really is quite simple, Watson. You see, it is a mere process of elimination.
How so, Sherlock?
Well, if you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
What?
I said, if you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
I heard it, Holmes. I just don't get it.
It's a basic axiom, Watson. Even you should be able to understand it, man of science that you are.
Well, that's the thing, Holmes. It's not that I don't understand it. It's that it makes no sense.
No sense? Of course it does. It is the single principle upon which I have solved all my cases.
All of them, Holmes?
Every last one, Watson. Why do you ask?
Well, it doesn't work, logically speaking.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
Well, look at it like this. If you have two sets of possible solutions, one set of which is impossible, and the other set is possible, albeit potentially improbable.
Yes, what of it?
When you eliminate the set of impossible solutions, you are left with the set of possible solutions.
Yes, as I said, really, Watson, you're just repeating me.
But you see, Holmes, this presents us with two queries.
Queries, Watson?
Well, flaws, more like.
Flaws?
Well, firstly, when presented with a set of all possible solutions to the problem, you are no closer to determining which of those solutions is the correct one.
Uh-huh.
Secondly, there is no way to determine whether or not the set of possible solutions at which you have arrived is indeed complete, and that there are no further hitherto unknown possible solutions.
Don't be ridiculous, Watson. If that were the case, every one of my solved cases would be unsound. We could not be sure that we'd correctly arrested the culprit. Indeed, we'd be guilty of unjustly curtailing their freedom. Indeed, the very lives of a multitude of men and women who may very well be innocent of the crimes of which they stood accused.
Exactly, Holmes.
Yeah, shit.
Hey, so Peter, I was walking down the road the other day and I saw this bunch of really cool, good-looking people.
Cool, good-looking. That could only be our patrons.
Yep, man, I have never seen such a well-informed, debonair bunch in all my life.
Yeah, right, why is that?
I don't know, you tell me.
Well, if I was forced to speculate, I guess it's because they listen to our top secret, super exclusive bonus episode every week.
Bonus episode? What?
Yeah. Each week, our patrons get an extra half hour or even more of extra content that nobody else gets to hear.
Oh, wow! That's amazing! Where can they find this?
Oh, well, it's pretty simple. You just head over to patreon.com/Morrus and pledge a monthly donation. Anything from $1 to whatever you think we're worth.
I did a scientific calculation once, just to see how much we're worth.
Oh, yeah? How much?
You probably don't want to know.
Probably for the best.
Anyway, if you enjoy our podcast, please head on over to patreon.com/Morrus and, just pledge a little.
That's patreon.com/Morrus, and thank you so much for your support. We couldn't do this without you.
I reckon we could.
Shh.
So you watched the cartoon.
I watched a cartoon.
I was blown away by this news, but yes.
So what did you think of the cartoon?
Oh, goodness.
Well, put it this way. Are you going to watch more of the cartoon?
What's it? So the cartoon being Legends of Vox Machina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I will because I might as well. I'm not, massively drawn into it.
Mm.
I think because my first impressions were it's quite sweary.
Mm.
I think it's, a restaurant at the end of the universe. There's this guy there who's got a Rory for the most gratuitous use of the word fuck in a serious screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I was a kid, my dad took me to see 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Mm-hmm. And the opening scene of that is basically that word repeated for about...
yes.
Yeah, for about 3-4 minutes as they are super late for a wedding. Which, is funny, but it just sort of loses its impact. And it's I don't know. It's all right.
I mean, this obviously isn't aimed at kids.
No, despite being an animation.
Oh, so I just want to say, we are talking spoilers here, so if you haven't seen it, stop listening. Stop listening.
If you
come back, go and see it, and come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, but we are gonna be spoiling it. So this is a spoiler discussion, not a non-spoiler discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel okay with talking spoilers for this one. I mean, because I don't feel there was anything that wasn't.
The only thing is the identity of the Blue Dragon, which I guessed halfway through the first episode, to be honest, and it turned out to be the general. It turned out to be David Tennant's general.
Ah, is that whose voice it was?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so it actually is a Scottish accent. Fair enough.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it's a genuine Scottish accent, yes. It's David Tennant's actual accent. Although his voice isn't that gruff. He's gruffing it up. Right.
We were wondering, because were you paying attention to who was doing what voices?
A couple of them. Yeah. Not really. David Tennant, just I recognise his voice.
Oh, fair enough then. I don't think I've heard him using a Scottish accent, so yeah.
He always uses a Scottish accent. The only time he hasn't done that is in Doctor Who.
And I think
pretty much everything he does, he uses his own accent.
Oh, right. I guess I know him from Doctor Who and Jessica Jones, which would be the examples.
Did he use... what accent did he use in that? I do remember seeing it, but I can't remember the details.
It was quite I don't think he didn't use a Scottish one. It was quite a nasty one to indicate he was a villain, which he absolutely 100%
A nasty accent. What's a nasty accent?
Okay, fine. He used a British accent. What are you going to do? Yeah. Scottish is also British, but what are you going to do? No, he used an English accent to show he was a villain. It was bang on and well deserved. There you go. You happy now? You happy?
Yeah. Well, generally. Anyway, that was his genuine accent. Anyway.
Yes, okay. Well,
yeah, but I kind of guessed part way through, because they were trying to set it up so you would think that blue guy.
Oh, the archivist. Oh, not the Alchemist, like the other... Like that other guy. What was his job? I don't know.
Yeah.
Be creepy.
Yeah,
we need someone creepy
blue
on
guy
staff.
and that immediately made me think it's definitely not him. Because they were trying to make it so obvious.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it got to the bit where the general survived that attack by the blue dragon, then I knew for
Very
sure.
sus.
Yeah. But I knew for sure at that point.
But it's like, well, where was he?
Yeah.
I was wondering vaguely, but I wasn't that fussed.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I actually... Right, so I've watched 3 episodes. How many have you watched?
There have been 3. There are 3 episodes. So
I mean, there's another 3 up today, but I haven't watched those yet.
Yeah. There's another 3 episodes. Okay.
Yeah, they're coming up every Friday.
Oh, I might give them a watch.
Yeah,
I mean, like I say,
will.
I'm sort of intrigued to see where it's going, but it's a very... I'm not grabbed, but I don't hate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely more irreverent and humorous than I expected. I was expecting it to be more serious than it is. But then again, I don't watch Critical Role, so then again, I know exactly what every D&D game is like. It is like that, isn't it? No matter how serious you want it to be. It does devolve into that.
I mean, well, it's just like I don't know. I think myself and my partner were both expecting it to be a lot more D&D. Actually, we were expecting to be able to see more of it, but it just felt like it wasn't.
How do you mean? Just as in?
Well, we expected to be able to recognise what people were and have an idea of what they could do from the characters.
I kind of got a sense. So you got the twins, who's a ranger and a rogue.
Yeah. And you've got a druid who has a bear companion.
A druid with a bear companion called Trinket.
I mean, we are big Trinket fans in this house. That is like, we are here for Trinket all day, every day. That is like the most reason why we keep watching it. I won't lie to you, Russ. I won't lie to you.
I did like the bit where they were sort of interviewing for the job, to take on the job to go and kill the dragon. And like, the advisor goes to the king, and they have a terrible reputation, my lord, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the king just says, but they do have a bear.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, what's worse that could happen? You got to look at your outcomes here. The worst case is they all get incinerated by a whatever, and you're like, oh, well, don't have to pay them. And the best case is they actually solved the problem, in which case, he quits in.
Yeah. I quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I was surprised, but I quite enjoyed it, because me and cartoons don't have a very good relationship with each other.
Well, I didn't...
Me and cartoons generally social distance from each other, let's put it that way.
Yeah, like, I mean, when you told me you were going to try and watch Avatar The Last Airbender...
I did it.
Well, I mean, the first episode...
That was an experiment I aborted very quickly and will not be going back to.
I could see... I mean, I would have told you that you would not have a good time with the first episode, because it's very...
Because I'm not 8, yes.
That is a problem. You're not in touch with an 8-year-old.
I think something like that, you had to be the right age at the right time, because I couldn't get into that.
I stuck around for a couple of episodes and then it got a lot better, so I liked it. But yeah,
and I'm trying to think what the Legend of Vox Machina reminds me of.
It's tricky, isn't it?
Because it kind of reminds me a lot of sort of like the sort of He-Man-y kind of Saturday morning cartoons, but with added gore and swear. It kind of feels a lot like that.
I mean, I guess, but it's like it's trying to position itself as not aimed at kids as well, so it's a bit
that's the
weird.
Gore and swear,
yeah. I mean,
well, it's not like mature plots or anything, is it? They're not at kids' bit is literally just swear words and gore. It's not. They're not discussing like in-depth themes that only grown-ups could understand or anything, are they?
I mean, I think it's just like I didn't really like a lot of the characters. Like, they didn't seem very likeable. I found Scanlan the Gnome moderately entertaining, but they really need to make him less irritating. I feel he'll be much improved if he develops more than one joke.
I've got no idea whether or not this is how similar these are to the actual Critical Role characters. I found the bits where, I mean, I get it, the bits where he puts on a pair of sunglasses and starts doing rap music and stuff, I get it, but it is jarring for me. That sort of genre slip is jarring for me. But, it's fine, whatever.
It's got a place where it's coming from, and the fact that there's like little glimpses of it makes it better. when they actually give the full spotlight with disco cod pieces and so forth, it's just like... Sure, why not? I mean,
I didn't mind the song he did to the king when he was introducing the party. Though. They should make that the opening sequence.
Yes, I'd definitely be on board with that. That was good. Yeah. They've got like an opening sequence, but it's a bit incoherent and a bit bland.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is very. I mean, I don't know how it changes later or if it changes later, but certainly this starting bit and certainly the first 2 episodes are very, very basic, stereotypical D&D campaign. It's like.
Yeah, I'm also finding it quite difficult to remember a lot of the characters' names.
Well, but that's the sort of thing that comes with time. I mean, even when you're watching The Sopranos or something like that, which is like one of the best TV shows ever made, it takes you a while to learn all their names.
Yeah. But
that's just normal.
It's just the difference between an ensemble cast. I feel it's like they're trying to introduce the whole ensemble all of the time, almost. And that makes it very difficult to relate. Because like in Firefly or The Sopranos, you have like sort of like Tony Soprano is the main character. That's easy enough. And they can pick up the people who are in relation to him because you're following around. So actually pick up the names quite quickly. But they're sort of all on, and the spotlight is so diffused, it stops being a spotlight. Yeah. It's just lighting. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's no single main character. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's sort of what you want from a D&D group.
Yeah,
but
I mean, each of those characters is literally just, certainly at this point, and they may well develop later, just a one-note archetype, aren't they?
If that,
big blue, me stupid but strong, want to eat something bloke. And,
I've got to say, we've got a lot of sympathy for Gorg
who's obsessed with sex, and it's like they're all very one-note at the moment.
Yeah, Sex Gnome and Gorg the Barbarian. I mean,
but I imagine that would develop over time.
Well, they are bringing in like the third episode. I think was a lot better than the starting one, and I would be tempted to say it's like Firefly in.
With Vampire Guy, who clearly wasn't a vampire right from the start. Oh my god, he looks exactly like a vampire.
I mean, could he have been more vampiresque?
I think every single reveal in this show was so telegraphed.
Yeah. I mean, I forget telegraphed. It's like semaphored, mate. It's like huge windmill-sized flags are waving up and down. Which,
he's definitely very, very clearly a vampire. Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, at a tabletop, that is the sort of level of subtlety you are going for.
Yeah.
Because of a different communication medium. In the cartoon, you're getting so much more information, it just seems maybe a lot more obvious. Or maybe we're just used to different levels of storytelling, I don't know. But yeah.
So did you find it funny?
Yes, there were definite parts of it that were funny. I'm not sure I was always laughing when they wanted me to be laughing, but we shall have to wait and see.
Yeah. I find, I mean, it was. I was entertained. Put it that way.
Yes, it was definitely entertaining.
I did kind of feel, and I don't know whether that's been. I'm not a cartoon expert. Or of course, I'm a cartoon expert. I'm a big expert on cartoons, and I know them all very well.
No finer person to ask about Cowboy Bebop exists.
Do cartoons often change from one style of animation to another in the cartoon?
That is, like, it can happen. But generally it's to indicate like a change of tone sort of thing.
Right. As soon as the action comes in, it turns into that there's someone sort of hovering in the air with lines flashing past them style.
That's more related to anime perhaps.
Yeah. But then other bits of it aren't like that at all. No. So I don't know if that's a typical thing or not.
It's a stylistic choice. I didn't really notice anything jarring about that. So, but perhaps as you're literally seeing it with fresh eyes.
Right. I got these eyes new today.
Absolutely.
I got them out of the box today.
Yeah.
They've been kept. They've been chilled for 7 days as required.
Yeah, nice, important.
Yeah. Fresh eyes indeed. So well, I'm going to watch another 3. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to keep going for now.
They are at least short. Like it's 28 minutes.
I like that about it. Bite sized.
Yes.
There's like 25 minutes each. I like that they're easy to get into. And just see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't. I've seen some people saying that they didn't like it. I've seen some people saying it was good. It's like, I mean, certainly it's well drawn. The art style is good. I have been enjoying that.
And tell you what, the British accents in it aren't too bad. A lot of them are Americans. I looked it up, are Americans, and they ain't too bad. Like the twins. fine.
Yeah.
And often those things do jar, and in this case, they didn't for me at all.
I mean, I didn't even notice. Nothing made me grind my teeth and go, "Oh."
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they are Critical Role folks are voice actors, though, so I suppose you would expect that level of
people
talent.
doing it. I thought they got new people.
Yeah. A lot of the Critical Role people are actually doing it. Like Matt Mercer's in there, and all of them are doing it. So, and then the new people, as far as I can make it, like David Tennant, obviously he's a bit part.
Yes.
He probably came in for an afternoon, recorded his lines. Yeah. Or probably did it from home, actually, didn't he?
He probably did, to be fair.
And recorded his lines in about an hour, and then
that was it.
Yeah. I mean, like actual on-screen speaking time, he probably had 5-10 minutes of speaking.
If that, most. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm guessing the big guest stars are bit parts rather than major recurring roles, I would guess.
Yeah, it was, I found it unobjectionable. I'll probably watch a couple more episodes and see what happens. But yeah.
I'll tell you what I couldn't get a handle on was their level of competence.
That was
Are they inept? Or are they really, really hyper competent? Because 1 minute they're one, and the next 1 minute they can't even open a door, and like one of them's trying to heat metal and setting fire to their friend's clothes by mistake and stuff. Like proper sort of Laurel and Hardy ineptness.
Yeah.
And then the next minute they suddenly realise, oh, we've got to fight this dragon. Let's make a plan, and suddenly they're all hyper competent.
Yeah, and all their plans just work. And this is the same dragon, by the way, that completely whoops them in the first part. I mean, although they failed to die, so that was
people regrouping and fighting back again is a standard trope. That's fine, but I just couldn't get
100% Russ. But normally there is more of a time for them to learn some new skills and get to know each other, so they can work better as a team rather than happening within the hour.
Possibly with a montage.
I mean, if they'd had a training montage.
With the Rocky theme music.
I don't think like Russ, you don't need to use full-on nuclear weapons here. They could have just put like a simple montage with a lesser song. If they had used the montage with the Rocky song, they'd be like, these Blue Dragons had it, mate. You've got no hope.
I now want to go and watch a Rocky film.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Was there anything that really bugged you about it at all?
No. I mean, it was okay. I mean, I guess it's just like I'm trying to work out whether Pike is a cleric or a warlock. But that's about it.
Cleric?
Well, you say that.
Well, she was healing people.
She was healing people, Russ. Well done. That is generally a sign that someone's a cleric. But she's a cleric that doesn't know anything about religion. Now, my first instinct is to say that's because she's actually a warlock who is based more on charisma and those stuff. But then I'm thinking, actually, maybe this is a subtle joke about how you get clerics and druids and so forth who never take any int skills and therefore know nothing about religion or nature respectively.
I have looked it up. Pike Trickfoot is a gnome cleric of Sarenrae and a member of Vox Machina, played by Ashley Johnson. Cleric.
Sarenrae, yes. I actually know
Sarenrae. Sarenrae.
That's from the Galarian universe, isn't it? Because I was playing a Liberator champion of Sarenrae in the Pathfinder 2 game we played.
But Pathfinder Critical Role was originally a Pathfinder game, wasn't it? And then it switched to D&D. I imagine for the TV show they'll have scrubbed the names though of all that stuff. They'll have replaced the names with.
There were certainly no names that I remember.
Yeah, no, they won't be using any Paizo or Wizard of the Coast owned names in that.
Yeah, okay. So I guess they'll have their own mythology. We can look forward to finding out more.
Yeah, well, I imagine the mythology will be a cut-paste of names. Yeah. I would expect.
Yeah. Throw some pantheons in. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was all right. I mean, it was... I enjoyed it. I'll watch more.
Oh,
I will watch more.
Probably the thing that is... mildly interesting is the pistol guy. He's probably got a name. He is the main character of the third episode, so I really should be able to remember his name. But he's pistol guy in my head.
Probably look it up. I can't remember their names. Critical Role pistol guy is what I'm typing in. There we go. And it came up. Lord Percival Frederickstein von Musel-Krasowski de Rollo III, better known as Percy, is a human gunslinger member of Vox Machina played by Taliesin Jaffe. There you go. Percy.
Okay, that's ring bells. So, like, he had a revolver, but which is a fairly technical bit of kit, I think, and a speed loader, which I noticed, but no one else has a gun. So
well, Matt Mercer created the gunslinger class and stuck it on DM's Guild, didn't he, a few years ago?
That's right.
And I assume that came directly from Critical Role, that they used it in, so...
No, yes, but it's just a little niggle for world building, which is why...
Was it an archetype? It's a fighter archetype, isn't it, I think?
Yes, fighter subclass, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fine, but it's just like none of the Palace Guards or any of the people out to slay a dragon had guns, so that seems a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, the gun didn't seem any better than any other weapon, though, did it?
Oh, I must say, at times he felt a bit underpowered, and yeah. I'm like, you brought a pistol to a fireball fight, my friend. That druid over there is doing cool lightning. Good luck with
a blue dragon who powers up. That was quite funny.
Yeah, it's like, are you sure you wish to do this? Yes, no, cancel. But,
so I wonder, in this show then, can all dragons be killed via the neck? No, actually, right, that was the thing that I noticed, right? So the whole thing was about you kill the dragon by hitting that spot in its neck.
Yes.
But that's not how they killed it. The big blue guy, whose name I've forgotten now, just leapt in the air and split its skull in two with an axe. Is how they killed it. So why didn't you just do that from the start? It's like... I mean... The neck bit was incidental to the way he actually got killed.
You have to say, it's like, well, you can only defeat it at this particular... Yeah, that was sort of like a diversion. I thought they were going to have to try and go on a fairly long quest to bring... That's the thing. I was expecting him to go on a long quest to bring the dragon to, like, this place where the
two rivers
meet, right? I'm on board with that.
It was a metaphor.
Yeah, except for the metaphor... And then they revealed, it's like, that's a weakness. And then they hit it in the head with an axe. And like,
they did attack the neck bit for a bit, and then hit it in the head with an axe.
I mean, maybe that was the secret. But I got to say, Russ, there's a lot of enemies in D&D that are vulnerable to being hit in the head with an axe.
Well, yes.
I'm struggling to think of any that actually thrive on it. Perhaps that's something for like the Monstrous Menagerie 2, an enemy that thrives on being hit in the head with an axe.
Specifically an axe, though.
Oh, absolutely. Everything else is fine. Yeah. You go axe to the head, and it's like, aha, you have unlocked my true power form.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of half tempted to go back and watch like the first episode of Critical Role just to see. I'm definitely not going to watch all of it because they're 4 hours each and there's tons of them. But one episode just to see if it's the same or if it's really, really different, just out of curiosity. Or how much they've had to change to make it work for a TV show.
I feel like you're trying to get me to agree to this, and that's
no, not at all. No,
okay, yeah. Oh, you go ahead and do that because that'd be interesting. Yeah,
I might do that just out curiosity, and I'll report back. Well, I might not do it by next week because it's 4 hours, isn't it?
Maybe you could put it on as a podcast or something, and get it where you're walking Hudson.
Yeah, I kind of get the sense that sort of thing you kind of need to see. I don't know. I'll see. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll see.
Maybe you'll get really into it and become a Tritter.
Oh, well, I'll definitely watch the next 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I'll give them a shot.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be entertaining. See how it goes. It's an early show yet. Like I said, I mean, I feel like I've said a lot of negative things about it, but actually there was lots to like about it as well.
Oh, I think you can be generally positive about it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's not terrible, and I am intrigued by some of the characters. But this is like a deal breaker.
Put it this way, it's a cartoon and I watched it, so it's got that going for it.
That is a hearty mark of endorsement, listeners. Russ has actually sat down and watched not 1, not 2, but 3 episodes.
3 cartoons, yes.
Yeah.
Hour and a half of my life watching cartoons.
And looking to add another 90 minutes to this total.
Yeah. So that definitely is an endorsement, I guess.
Yeah. Ringing, glowing. There you go. The official Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk approves of Critical Role's Legends of Vox Machina.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they try and distinguish themselves from D&D brand-wise, though. Because I'm sure, like, now Amazon's involved, they don't want any hint of sort of copyright type or even just branding mix-ups, if you know what I mean. Even if it's not a legal thing, just a perception thing.
Well, I guess they will be...
I mean, they haven't mentioned Ranger or Rogue or any words like that on here, have they?
Yes. I was thinking that. They have been working quite hard to avoid those. So yeah, but I don't know what words they will use instead. Perhaps...
But a blue dragon that breathes lightning is very D&D.
Yeah.
Is that,
great.
I mean...
No, I think that's legit, actually. Like, a dragon breathing fire, that's like
standard
hashtag
dragon.
just dragons.
Yeah.
But a red dragon breathing fire is like, okay, that's quite D&D, but not necessarily. But
once you use the other colours...
lightning, that's when you...
Black dragon, breathing acid, that's like, okay, that is D&D at that point.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a generic concept, is it?
Yeah, it's fairly specific, I feel, yeah.
But apart from that, I reckon the rest of it... I mean, they're kind of archetypes rather than classes, aren't they? So, like, you kind of... If you go to watch this show and you have not played D&D...
Yes.
It's not like it's jumping out at you and saying this is a game or anything. It's kind of like...
No.
You can still kind of recognise the archetypes. Big, strong, brute guy who hits things with an axe. Thiefy guy with a cloak and a hood. Yeah.
Have you come across the concept of the fourth wall?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Me being a human being in the world.
But who does not watch cartoons? So, I don't know. Do you read comic strips?
I used to read them a lot, but not anymore. Just time-wise, though. That's literally just time.
No, okay, that's fair enough. Okay, but like if they have breaks to camera and so forth, where they're like, oh, look at this guy. Like, you can do that if you're Deadpool and you're Ryan Reynolds, but the rest of you better watch out, because I'm not a big fan. Yeah.
Apparently, She-Hulk is going to be doing that as well.
Okay, I don't know much about it, so...
It's a TV show, new Marvel TV show coming up this year sometime.
Right. Okay.
She's a lawyer.
Right.
And a Hulk.
Yes.
And it's quite fourth-wally in the comics, apparently.
Right, yeah. Like, I've seen it done really well a couple of times. Like, there was... it's a couple of years old now, but Fleabag.
Oh, yeah.
That was very,
I did like the one bit where she was with the priest and they were sitting on the couch and she was talking to the camera, basically. And he turned around like, who are you talking to? It was like a breaking the fourth wall, then double bluff meta breaking the fourth wall.
Yes, that, as I say, that is amazingly well done. A lot of it I don't... I'm like, I'll tolerate it, but I won't be smiling about it. But you can get away with it if you're, like I say, Deadpool, because that is bang on brand for the character who does it all the time anyway. And also it's quite funny.
But they haven't done that in Critical Role, have they? I mean, in Legends of Vox Machina.
No.
Have they?
No, they haven't. I feel like it is on the cards.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So, with the animation style, I fear it coming up, so I'm hoping that they resist the temptation.
Well, I'm interested to see where it goes, because what is quite cool for me is I literally know nothing about Critical Role. Like, everyone keeps going on, the Briarwoods arc and stuff, like I'm supposed to know what that means, and I don't. So, and I like the fact that I don't, because I'm kind of learning about it by watching it as I'm supposed to, not...
Yeah, exactly. I don't want, massive amounts of spoilers for it. I suppose it would be quite spoilerific to an extent, but again, it's like it's all felt sort of spottable. I don't know. But yes, anyway, look forward to seeing more of it, so yeah.
What happened to all the treasure, the Dragon's Hoard?
Oh, the cavern. The cavern started doing the whole on death, this villain's lair will self-destruct. So it started falling to bits, if you remember.
Did they get away with any of it?
I think...
no, because they still had no money when they got their reward. Yeah,
like the Ranger had something, and Scanlan had a box of treasure, but no one... I mean, they might have stuffed a handful of gold coins in their pocket or something. But yeah, they were distracted by the fact that the dragon turned up, so yeah.
What's interesting is it looks to me like maybe it's a little more social political intrigue kind of stuff coming up rather than killing a monster stuff coming up.
Oh, yeah.
From what the third episode looked like, it was like basically it was one banquet, wasn't it? Pretty much,
yeah.
And things going on at that and around that. So
yeah. I mean, it had a nice mix between giving. People always say don't split the party, but I think this showed how you could split the party. You just skip from watching them do something until they make a roll. And then before you reveal what happens, you skip to the next person.
Well, you can skip. Well, yeah. I mean, you can skip the party a lot more in a show than you can in actual game because the other characters in the show aren't just stopping and sitting there and waiting for the other person to finish their part.
Well, that's the thing. I like to. I mean, that's what I miss most about in-person role playing because, in-person role playing, you have the opportunity for people to just role play amongst themselves with scenes that they're not involved in. And they could just like in-character chat, which is really good.
One thing I used to do, I haven't done it in a long time, is for NPCs that didn't have plot knowledge, just like a bartender or or whatever. Yeah. And if some players were not involved particularly in that scene, I'd ask them to play the NPC. And that used to work quite well. As long as they didn't need any specific knowledge.
Yeah. They could just, nice. Okay, yeah.
And that does work. Although those things do end up, you've got to be careful because they always end up in the humorous category of encounters.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want it to be serious, you can't do that because it just won't happen.
Yeah. I had like a thing where a ghost possessed one of the characters, and I realised, okay, so for the next however many combat rounds, this character's going to be out of the game. So I'm like, okay, well, you're the ghost now. Do what the ghost would do. Yeah. And that worked out quite nicely. So they all got to be involved, and it meant that the ghost was a lot more ruthless and not prone to taking prisoners.
Yeah.
That I would have dared to do. They were like, oh, wow, I say, set it on.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Vox Machina then. So maybe like in a few weeks we could revisit and see if our opinions have changed or whether we still think the same thing.
Why not?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right. And with that, I think we're done for the day.
I think we are. Yeah.
That's fun.
Apparently I now have to read this to you. This is the official podcast of Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news, which you can find at enworld.org. You can find show notes at morris.podbean.com or wherever you found the podcast. If you feel like they deserve it, you can support the show on Patreon. In return, you will receive exclusive bonus content. Just go to patreon.com/Morris. If you're interested in his babbling nonsense, you can follow at Morris on the Twitter. Send your emails to morrispodcast@gmail.com. Not all of your emails, just the ones you want us to see. That's it. I'm bored now. You can go away. Shoo, off you go. Goodbye. Get out of here.
I merely asked because you're wearing a shirt. Which
I've been wearing a shirt for like the last 10 times you've seen me.
You haven't.
Since Christmas I have, yeah.
Really? Oh. Well,
you are a captain observant, haven't you?
I am. Dumped wisdom. That's my way.